Hi, sixth graders. We're on lesson 5.3, which is adding and subtracting mixed numbers. So make sure you label the top of your page with the lesson number and the concept so that you know exactly which lesson you're on and which concept you are taking notes on. Our learning target is being able to add and subtract mixed numbers. So if we're adding mixed numbers, remember a mixed number is a whole number with a fraction. So we have two mixed numbers here that we want to add together, which we use the same steps as if we are adding fractions. We have to make sure we have a common denominator, and then we add. So I can see that 5 goes into 10. So if I multiply my numerator and my denominator by 2, I can get 10 into my denominator. So we would have 2 and 8/10. I want to rewrite it so I keep myself organized and neat. Plus 3 and 1/10, so I didn't need to do anything with that mixed number. Then I'm going to add my whole numbers, so 2 plus 3 is 5. And then I'm going to add 8/10 plus 1/10, so 8 plus 1 is 9. And then remember when we add fractions, we keep the denominator. So it's 5 and 9/10. Then we simplify, but 9/10 is already in simplest form, so I leave it then as 5 and 9/10. Add our whole numbers, add our numerators, keep the denominator. Pause me and do this problem in your notebook. This should be a 6. So 1 3/5 plus 2 1/6. I know that 5 and 6 can both go into 30. So I am going to multiply 3/5 by 6 and then 1/6 by 5. So I have 1 and 18/30 and then 2 and 5/30. And now I'm going to add them together. 1 plus 2 is 3. 18 plus 5 is 23. Keep my denominator, which is 30. 3 and 23/30 is in simplest form, so then I'm going to leave it like that. If we subtract mixed numbers, we do the same exact thing, except we are subtracting. So this time I can see that 3 can go into 6. So I only need to change 1/3 so that I get 6 on the bottom. So if I multiply 3 times 2, I get 6. Since I'm doing it on the bottom, I have to do it on the top. I'm going to rewrite 8 and 5/6 minus 2 and 2/6. So I do 8 minus 2, which is 6. 5 minus 2 is 3. Keep my denominator. 6 and 3/6. I can simplify 3/6 by dividing it by 2. By 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So 6 and 1/2 is my solution in simplest form. So sometimes if we're subtracting mixed numbers, we may need to convert our mixed numbers to improper fractions. I can see that I can do 2 minus 1, but then if I look at 1/3 minus 2/3, I would end up with a negative fraction with a positive whole number, and then it gets really confusing. So what we want to do is we want to convert our mixed numbers into improper fractions. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7, and then I keep my denominator, so I have 7/3. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. Keep my denominator, so 7/3 minus 5/3, 7 minus 5 is 2. Keep my denominator, I have 2/3. That is one way to solve that problem. We have the exact same problem, 2 1/3 minus 1 2/3. Another way that I can do this is I can change 2 1/3 to a different mixed number. If I pull out, or if I separate my 2, so just look at my 2 whole numbers, and if I take 1 out, and then I take my other whole number, and I change it to 3/3, 1 plus 3/3, because we know that this is 1, so 1 plus 1 is 2, and then I still have my 1/3. So this right here, even though it looks kind of confusing, is the same as 2 1/3. 1 plus 1 plus 1/3 is 2 1/3. And then I'm going to keep this, minus 1 2/3. So now if I write this as a mixed number with an improper fraction, I would have 1. And then if I add these fractions together, I get 3 plus 1, which is 4/3, minus 1 2/3. So now I have 1 minus 1 is 0. 4 minus 2 is 2. Keep my 3. So I have 0 2/3, which we just write as 2/3. Sometimes this works better when we have really large mixed numbers with a big whole number and large denominators. Sometimes it works to just pull out one whole number and then change it to an improper fraction and subtract that way. So if I have 5 3/8 minus 4 11/12, we are going to try this again with that second method that we did. So 5 3/8 is the same as 4 8/8 3/8. Notice that when I pull it out, I change my whole number to a fraction with the same denominator. And then 4 11/12. So now I have 4 11/8 minus 4 11/12. Now I need to find a common denominator. So I know that 8 and 12 both go into 24. So times 3 times 3 times 2 times 2. Remember, I'm multiplying whatever I need to multiply by to get the numerators the same. So 4 33 24ths minus 4 22 24ths. 4 minus 4 is 0. I'm not even going to bother writing my 0. 33 minus 22 is 11 over 24, so 11/24. You very well could have changed these to mixed numbers, to improper fractions. It would have been a little bit more work and taken a little bit more time, but you would have came up with the exact same solution. So it's up to you which method you want to use. And then if we have a whole number minus a mixed number, 8 minus 3 3/4, what we want to do here is we are going to change 8 to a 7 4/4, because we know that 4/4 is 1, so 7 plus 1 is 8, minus 3 and 3/4. And I made it fourths so that right away I have the same common denominator. And now I can subtract. 7 minus 3 is 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. Keep my denominator, 4 and 1/4. 7 minus 1 and 1/2. Try pausing me and see if you can solve this using this method. So 7 is the same as 6 and 2/2 minus 1 and 1/2. So we have 6 minus 1 is 5. 2 minus 1 is 1. And keep my 2, so we have 5 and 1/2. You can go back and re-watch any of these. If it's still a little bit confusing, remember we'll go over it in class tomorrow. Log into NICU and take your 5-3 adding and subtracting mixed numbers and fractions NICU quiz. Have a great night.